Merkel, will only lift Russia sanctions if Ukraine's sovereignty restored.
Here's a summary of the article.
Berlin, German Chancellor Angela Merkel said on Tuesday that Western sanctions against Russia would not be lifted unless Ukraine's sovereignty was restored. Merkel said she and visiting Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had discussed the Minsk peace agreement, adding, "As long as there is no progress on this front, the sanctions cannot be lifted, and the sanctions related to Crimea can only be lifted if Crimea returns to Ukraine."
This post received a score of 11,540, with an upvote ratio of 96%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Bravo! I'll just leave this right here. Germany is the largest buyer of Russian natural gas. Russia is building its own pipeline, called Nord Stream 2, that could double the amount of natural gas it exports to Germany. For the European Union, natural gas is critical. It generates more than 1/4 of the European Union's electricity needs, which are only growing. Moscow likes the idea of having a second direct route to its biggest European customer, especially a route that bypasses Ukraine, which it sees as a pesky neighbor and unreliable partner in shipping gas. Germany likes
Russia being a glorified gas station isn't really going to do much for it if it can't sell anything else.
Oil barons of Middle East would disagree.
Many of the oil barons of the Middle East are rushing to diversity. Just look at the UAE.
Yeah, my uncle lives in Abu Dhabi. But these nations woke up to this reality on a decade or two ago. Russia is much more industrialized. Also, it produces more than just oil and gas and has potential to produce much more. Russia will not be irrelevant anytime soon. They have enough resources for centuries to sustain many times their population. Don't worry, Russia is one bullet from instability. Putin has unilateral control over the criminal and state organizations of that country. When he gets assassinated, not if, there's going to be a power struggle like the world's never seen in that region.
Putin will disappear round about the time he can't get his oligarch friends' assets unfrozen and sanctions lifted. Putin is richer than his oligarch friends and controls the Russian military and black ops. What the fuck are his oligarch henchmen going to do to him?
I'd guess poison him.
Russia sanctions enacted indefinitely. Got it, thanks for the update, Chancellor Merkel.
This was addressing a domestic audience, not an international one. The Prime Minister of Saxony went last week on a state visit to Putin and is currently with all other East German Prime Ministers bipartisan pressuring the Chancellerat to get rid of all Russia sanctions.
Interdesting.
You can't negotiate away a country's sovereignty and maintain a belief in liberal democratic values. This is great. I completely agree with the sanctions on Russia, but we shouldn't be hypocrites about it. Where are our sanctions on Saudi Arabia for starving and killing the Yemeni people? Where were our sanctions on the US when they invaded Iraq, or will we place sanctions when they invade Iran? I agree with the sanctions, but let's not act as if they're about values. Russia is being sanctioned because Putin is messing with another European country, not because of values. I'm not sure where the people crying "fat-aboutism" come from, but critical self-reflection of our politics and government is a normal thing here. I said I agree with the sanctions and that in fact we should sanction violations of international law more often, giving examples of Saudi Arabia, Yemen and US Iraq.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.